Hi, my name's Sage, and I'm the Youth Program Coordinator here at Community Services Unlimited, and welcome to this month's segment of our Garden Gateway online virtual workshop. Here at the farm, we have a lot of growing space, but not everyone has this much space, so sometimes we have to get creative about what we're growing in. In this video, we're going to be talking about upcycling and using recycled materials as growing containers. Upcycling is a great way to add unique touches to your growing space and also adds new life to old household items. So we're going to be reviewing the pros and cons of different growing containers and just talking about ways to get creative in the garden. Before we begin, it's really important to note that when using recycled materials, we have to be thinking about the toxicity present in certain items. Sticking a plant in a metal can can be really cute and fun, but we know that long-term exposure to metals can cause certain cancers, so we don't recommend growing food you're going to eat in metal cans. Likewise, if you're going to be using a metal container, if it's rusted at all, exposure to rust is also really bad, so we don't recommend using that. And then painting our containers or wood can be really fun, but certain paint contains lead and we really want to avoid getting that anywhere near something we're going to be putting into our body. So just something to think about as we review different materials moving forward. If you have a lot of space and a broken wheelbarrow, then you're in luck because they are actually great decorative and functional growing containers. We recommend lining it with plastic or just keeping your planting to non-edible and decorative flowers. In all cases, you're going to want to drill some drainage holes into the bottom of the wheelbarrow, which actually has kind of a double bonus because you can plant like leafy greens underneath the wheelbarrow to catch that excess water, and then have like plants growing on top and then like lettuce growing at the bottom. Here we have one of the old wheelbarrows that's usually at the farm, and as you can see, there's a lot of space in here for growing, so you wouldn't have to worry about your plants getting root locked. And then if we drilled holes right in here, we would avoid any root rot. With this wheelbarrow, since it has metal down here, I'd be careful about where I sprinkled the seeds, but it's really sizable and a really fun way to add like a unique touch to your garden. So if you have the space and a broken wheelbarrow, go for it. Now we're going to be talking about cinder blocks. Cinder blocks are awesome in the garden. First, they won't deteriorate like wood or other materials. And second, they're built to stack, so it's a lot easier and quicker to make a raised bed with them than other materials. And most importantly, they're really cheap. So if you don't have any lying around, most hardware stores have them in stock, and it's a really cost-effective way to get your garden space up and running. You can get a lot of inspiration from the internet where people have used cinder blocks to create really cool like geometric growing spaces or raised beds like you can see here. But if you'd prefer to make a raised bed from wood, you should stay tuned for our raised bed workshop that's coming out in early 2021. Another cost-effective growing container is a bucket. Buckets are super cheap, available at most hardware stores, even corner stores, and make a great pot. So when you're using a bucket, you just want to make sure that you're going to drill a hole in the bottom to make sure you avoid any root rot and to ensure drainage. Buckets add like a fun color to the garden space. They're really great. Highly recommend using buckets. So if you buy eggs, then you're in luck because egg cartons actually make for a great way to start seedlings at home. They're clean and lightweight, and they're already divided into plant-like cells, so it's really great for starting whatever kind of seeds you want. And they fit on windowsills, so even if you can't plant anything outside, if you have like a little space by the window, you can definitely get some seeds going. And this is also a really fun activity to do with any young people or young children you might have at home. Super family friendly and easy activity. Depending on the type of carton you have, you can even plant them directly into the ground as soon as your seeds start sprouting up. This is only if you have the cardboard kind of carton. If you do have a plastic carton, just be sure that you take the seedlings out before putting them in the ground, because that plastic isn't going to break down for a long time. And we recommend just buying the cardboard. So we're going to start off, and you just want to cut it apart. My heavy duty knife. Just like that. And we're going to be using seeds that we saved this year from Sugar Snap peas. So if you're interested in seed saving, you should check out our other video. But here I'm just popping open the canisters, seeds. Great. Should be enough. And so we have our carton here. So our first step is going to be to make holes in all of these to make sure that it can drain. Make a little hole. It's really important that you have drainage holes to make sure that root rot doesn't happen and that your plants aren't going to drown. So as you can see, we have the holes. Some of them are kind of big. That's okay. And now we're just going to fill it up with some soil. So I have some soil in this bucket, and I'm just going to sprinkle it right in. If you're working inside, you might want to be a bit more clean, but we're outside, so it doesn't really matter. Great. Okay, awesome. So you can see, really nicely filled. I'm just gonna make a little hole in each of these. Get my seeds and plop them right in. And then make sure we cover them up. We like to say you're like tucking them into bed. And then you just do that again for the other side, and then you're going to want to make sure you give it a nice watering. And since we've cut the holes, you might get water coming out of the bottom, so you could always put it in the top or have it over something else to make sure you're catching that excess water. And there you go. I'll leave these by a windowsill, and in a couple of weeks we should get some sprouts. Thanks so much for tuning in to this month's gardening workshop. We'll be back next week with our cooking and nutrition workshop, where we're going to be making a spaghetti squash with vegan Alfredo sauce. It's going to be super delicious. You should definitely tune in. As always, follow us on Instagram for daily updates and check out our website for so much more. We'll see you next time.